China just betrayed Trump, and Boeing may never recover from what just happened. The Bank of China has officially canceled all its airplane orders from Boeing, one of America's biggest and most important companies. Instead, China signed a massive deal to buy 500 planes from France's Airbus. This is not just a business move, it's a political message. And the timing is brutal. It happened right as President Trump was setting up for peace with China's leader, Xi Jinping. Make no mistake, this is China's way of hitting back after Trump's trade war. The tariffs placed on Chinese goods were intended to bring jobs back to the United States. However, China is showing it can take its money elsewhere. And it just did, on the biggest stage possible. For Boeing, this is the biggest loss in its history. For America, it's a warning sign. China is no longer afraid to cut ties. And while Airbus celebrates, US companies like Apple, Tesla, and US Steel are still struggling to build factories back home. They promised to move production out of China, but it's not going well. Labor is expensive, building is slow, and the challenges are piling up. Even Republicans in Congress are giving up on US manufacturing. Right now, it's looking more and more likely that American companies simply can't keep their promises to bring jobs back. The cost is too high, the process is too hard, and China is moving on. Before we get into the full report, subscribe now. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. Donald Trump thought high tariffs would scare China into making trade concessions. He thought hitting Chinese goods with a 145% tax would make China give in. But that's not what happened. Instead of backing down, China is quietly hitting back by moving its money out of the United States. This tussle is about money, power, and long-term strategy. China is not only saying no to American goods, it's pulling its dollars out of America's most important financial system, US government debt. And it's doing this on purpose, as part of a carefully planned response. While Trump was trying to make peace with Xi Jinping, China quietly announced it would no longer be buying American-made Boeing airplanes. It was the first major hit from China in months, and it came at a time when Trump was hoping for a breakthrough. Instead, China reminded everyone that smiles and photo ops aren't enough. Boeing is more than just a company. It's one of America's largest exporters and a major symbol of US manufacturing. For years, China was Boeing's biggest customer. In 2017, it bought about a quarter of all the planes Boeing made. But then came trade wars, safety problems with the 737 MAX, and growing political tensions. By 2023, Boeing delivered just one jet to China, a huge drop from over 190 a few years earlier. Now Boeing was finally starting to recover. China had allowed MAX deliveries to resume. The first one just landed in China this June. Then, out of nowhere, China announced that it would be buying its aircraft from Airbus instead. This isn't just bad news for a few CEOs. Boeing employs more than 140,000 people across the US. Its factories in Washington, South Carolina, and Kansas help keep entire communities alive. And that's just the direct jobs. Hundreds of thousands more work at suppliers, airports, and support services that rely on Boeing's business. China's airline market is expected to buy over 8,000 planes by 2040. If Boeing is pushed out, that's more than $1 trillion in lost sales. That's money that won't go into American factories or American paychecks. A long-term freeze from China would mean layoffs, plant slowdowns, and fewer jobs in one of the country's biggest industries. While Boeing is struggling to stay in the game, the European aerospace giant Airbus is enjoying a wave of optimism. This potential mega deal sent Airbus shares soaring in, with investors clearly interpreting the move not just as a boost to the company's bottom line, but as a major geopolitical signal. The market responded almost instantly. Airbus stock jumped roughly 4% after the news broke, and within 3 days was up by 6%. In contrast, Boeing stock took a modest hit, sliding around 0.7% on the same day. The market is reading between the lines, and what it's seeing is China potentially punishing Boeing while rolling out the red carpet for its European rival. Reports suggest the Chinese government is preparing to place this substantial aircraft order ahead of a scheduled visit from a delegation of European leaders to Beijing. While the exact timing of the deal remains unconfirmed, insiders point to a list that could reach as many as 500 aircraft, likely a mix of narrow-body and wide-body jets, predominantly from the Airbus A320 and A350 families. This kind of bulk purchase would represent not only one of the largest aviation deals in recent history, but also a deliberate and strategic act of economic realignment. For context, Airbus already holds a strong position in China. Over 1,100 Airbus jets are in active service with Chinese airlines, while Boeing lags behind with around 600. Even more telling is the backlog. Airbus reportedly has over 500 planes on order in China, compared to Boeing's 160. China is not merely shifting gears, it's flooring the accelerator in a new direction. If this keeps going, Boeing risks losing the entire Chinese market to its biggest competitor. The Boeing cancellation sends a warning to every major US company doing business with China. If trade talks fail, their products could be next. Companies like Apple, Tesla, Ford, and GM all rely heavily on the Chinese market. China could raise taxes, delay approvals, or squeeze local demand for any American brand. And these companies can't easily leave China. It's too big, too profitable, and too central to their supply chains. So will these companies ever leave China? The answer will shock you. The promise of bringing back manufacturing jobs has taken center stage in Trump's government. It sounds noble. It feels patriotic. It's a perfect headline for campaign rallies and cable news banners. But beneath the surface of this carefully rehearsed chorus lies a stark and frankly disturbing truth. These declarations are not blueprints for industrial rebirth. They are scripts for corporate theater. They are strategic deceptions designed to shield companies from political backlash, while their factories remain firmly planted overseas. Corporations are not investing in American workers. They are investing in optics and making profits. Bringing production back to the United States is expensive. Wages in the US are justifiably higher, regulations are stricter, and the cost of land, energy, and compliance is daunting. It's far cheaper, simpler, and more profitable to keep factories in China, India, Vietnam, or Mexico, where labor costs are a fraction and government oversight is flexible at best. As of 2025, the average manufacturing wage in China is approximately $1,100 per month, while in the United States, it exceeds $5,900 per month, not including benefits, insurance, and union protections. Labor alone makes US manufacturing roughly 6 to 8 times more expensive. Moreover, China's government heavily subsidizes industrial inputs like electricity, land, and raw materials, allowing factories to operate with razor-thin margins. For instance, China has spent over $230 billion to support EV producers, and that is just for one industry. In addition, compliance with environmental, safety, and labor regulations is far stricter in the US, adding layers of bureaucratic cost that Chinese factories often bypass. China also benefits from economies of scale. Entire cities like Shenzhen are optimized for mass electronics production, with vertically integrated supply chains just miles apart. In contrast, US manufacturers face logistics fragmentation, union labor costs, zoning delays, and higher corporate tax obligations. But wait, didn't Apple say it was bringing manufacturing home? That's what the headlines told you. But the devil, as always, is in the details. We need to go back in history to see how this scenario has played out before. In 2012, under scrutiny from both the government and the public, Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, boldly declared that the company would start producing some Mac computers in the United States. It was hailed as a turning point, a tech titan choosing patriotism over profit. But the result was no iPhones, no iPads, no large-scale return of US manufacturing. Apple only did a little, just enough to earn headlines, not enough to make a difference. This is why Trump is angry with Apple for taking manufacturing to India instead of the US. Today, under Trump's renewed threats of tariffs and trade penalties, Apple is once again humming the reshoring tune. It releases glossy press statements about investing in America and praises American innovation. But behind the scenes, the real investments, billions of dollars worth, are flowing into India. They are promising to invest $500 billion in making iPhones in the US. But Trump does not trust Apple anymore, and that is why he has refused to give the company any tariff exemption. Apple is not reshoring. It is rerouting. India offers lower labor costs, political stability, and strategic distance from the rising tension between Washington and Beijing. The shift is deliberate. The motive is profit. If Apple won't build factories in the US, what makes anyone believe that cash-strapped automakers or struggling apparel brands will? Then there's Ford and General Motors. These giants loudly proclaim their loyalty to American workers. Yet they continue sourcing batteries and parts from China, or worse, move entire operations to Mexico. It's the same story with Nike, Levi's, and a host of consumer goods manufacturers. They flirt with onshoring in press statements but keep the real work in Vietnam, Bangladesh, or Cambodia, where labor costs are laughably low and environmental regulations barely exist. These corporations know that reshoring would spike production costs and force them to charge higher prices. American consumers, used to cheap global goods, would revolt at $1,200 iPhones or $150 Levi's jeans. That would hurt profits. And nothing terrifies a CEO more than disappointing Wall Street. But now comes the question no one dares to ask. Can corporations really have it both ways? When you look closely at what's really happening in Congress, the story is very different. The same politicians who talk about reshoring, bringing jobs back home, are quietly backing away from the rules and plans needed to actually make it happen. One big example of this is the American Competitiveness Act. When it was first introduced, the bill had strong rules that said companies would only get government help if they agreed to build things in the US. But by the time the bill passed, those rules were watered down. Now companies can get tax breaks even if they build their factories in other countries. This means big businesses are still sending jobs overseas while getting money from American taxpayers. It makes you wonder, were these leaders ever serious about bringing jobs back, or was it all just for show? This isn't just a small change in the law. It's a sign that many leaders no longer believe in seriously rebuilding American industry. Instead of spending money on things like modern factories, job training, or helping local supply chains, they've gone back to the old ideas of cutting taxes and reducing regulations. These ideas sound good to some, but they don't do much to actually create jobs or build new factories here at home. In fact, they often make it easier for companies to move overseas and chase cheaper labor. The numbers tell the real story. Fewer businesses are reshoring in 2025 than before. That's happening even though corporate profits are high, and the US has raised tariffs to make foreign goods more expensive. In other words, even with all the right conditions, companies still don't seem interested in making things in America. The Trump administration continues to insist that China needs access to the US market. However, that narrative is becoming less accurate by the day. Within a year, US exports to China have fallen as China is cutting its dependence of US goods. Chinese companies have learned to thrive through diversification and growing domestic consumption. Today, only 15% of revenue for listed Chinese firms comes from overseas, and only 2 to 3% originates from the US. That's why Chinese stocks are resilient, even as exports to the US fall. The real story is, China's growth engine is no longer the American consumer, but its own rising middle class. But if China can afford to decouple, can the US? The numbers are brutal. In April 2025 alone, US exports to China fell 21%, while Chinese exports to the US are expected to fall by 77% in 2025. This is not a trade slowdown. This is a trade implosion. Tariffs are reciprocal, and Beijing has hit back with triple-digit tariffs on key US goods. US exporters, especially in agriculture, tech, and heavy industry, are facing an existential crisis. Ocean carrier data shows that U.S. container exports dropped 78%, down to a mere 57,000 20-foot equivalent units. Buyers across the globe aren't walking away because of politics. They're walking away because America is no longer the cheapest, the fastest, or the most essential. So here's the question. What happens when the world no longer needs what America sells? Subscribe now and don't miss what's coming next, because the next chapter of this economic war is just getting started.